All right, what's up, everyone? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Hope everyone's having a great start to your day wherever you may be. So in this video, we are actually going to take a look at coins that you can find in circulation. Generally, as recently as 2 years ago, I would say that this particular short date range hadn't been overlooked at all. All right, up until now, we've had just some absolutely big explosive errors that have come onto the scene in both 2021 and 2022. It's been an incredible ride, but for the coins that fall under a specific range from 2015 to 2020, now all of a sudden, has kind of taken second fiddle to all the coins that we can expect to find that are brand spanking new from the last 12 to 18 months. We're going to kind of go back and revisit some of the finds that you guys need to be on the lookout for within this short date range of 2015 to 2020. The reason why it's relevant right now for some sort of conversation is that a lot of the coins are relatively new enough that when you do find them, they're still going to be in really good shape. All right. What are the odds that you could go back, look through just bank boxes and rolls and large, massive groups of change lots in the hopes of finding a mid-state, say, 1983 double die reverse Lincoln cent? Okay, what are the odds that you can actually find a coin that still would grade mid-state 64 or mid-state 65? It's like this, and I'm touching my fingers together because the opportunity to find that coin in that grade is virtually impossible, all right, in today's standards, because of how the way circulation really beats down on these coins, especially Lincoln cents that are a lot newer because they are copper-coated zinc. These things don't have that great of a shelf life. They end up deteriorating right before your very eyes. Once any moisture permeates through that copper plating, it's all done. You're going to get all sorts of funky corrosion spots. You're going to see zinc rot, which is another thing that kind of plagues some coins. I've seen some pretty massive varieties with zinc rot on there. It's not pretty. And, it could kind of figure it's like rust on steel. Unless you do something about it early on, it's just going to continue to eat away at it like a cancer. So the coins that we're going to talk about, again, are all, I would say for the most part, naked eye visible. It certainly doesn't hurt to have a magnifier. I have a 8 times power, I have a 15, and I have a 30. And they all have specific applications for what I'm using them for when I'm searching. I do have a USB scope, but that's mostly for sales, for selling them online, on eBay, on social media, things like that. But, you can use it. It might speed up things a little bit quicker. If you know the ins and outs of your device, it should be a lot quicker to find and then identify some of these coins. However, a lot of the coins we're going to talk about are really like smash mouth, like right in your face type of errors. And they all deserve some sort of recognition when you're going out there, because these are all coins that pretty much dominate the landscape of our circulating coinage. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into this first coin here. We have a 2015 Philadelphia Lincoln Shield cent that exhibits a pretty substantial rim-to-rim bisecting die crack. Now, there are a number of dates from 2015 to 2020 where you could find coins like this. 2015, 2016, and then there's one other date, I believe it's 2018 or 19, are a few of the dates where there are different types of die cracks and interior die breaks and all sorts of weird, funky stuff going on. And these are all coins that, again, they weren't avidly searched through. That might change, once people catch wind of what's out there based off of what's in this video. But this is a great example of a coin that exists out there that's going to have a lot of secondary market value. Now, it's real simple. The die had split in half, all right? But, the two halves are still pretty much tight together, so that way when they do strike the coins, all you're going to see is a crack. It just means that the die is probably time to get replaced. Okay, this is what they call a terminal area within the die's life, to where it warrants a replacement. But this is, again, a phenomenal coin. Now, the coin that you see here is graded by NGC. So generally, what I like to talk about are coins that don't need grading. And this is one example of a coin that you don't need to grade. However, it certainly doesn't hurt. So, when we look at this particular coin, this one sold, a couple bids, $250, somewhere around there. The conversation and argument is, okay, so if I grade it, it's $250. If I sell it raw, which means it's ungraded, you could just literally find it right at a change and then go ahead and list it on eBay or your favorite e-commerce site. You probably end up with maybe $100 to $125 for it. Okay, so you kind of have to weigh the options. If you grade a coin, it's going to take a while for it to come back, and then there's that issue of the fees. The fees for attributing errors and varieties is expensive compared to just submitting the coin for grading. They will not attribute a die crack or some sort of other error on the slab label unless you pay the extra money for it. So, again, it really depends on a couple things, all right? Is this a coin that you're going to keep for yourself? All right, that's important. You found this pretty big error. Do you just want to keep it for yourself? Is the $200-300 just not that important to you? Or, the speed in which you get your money, right? Because everybody wants that instant gratification. Should you just throw it up for 5-day or 7-day auction, or buy it now listing for X amount of dollars, and you get your money a lot quicker than, say, if you had sent this off to NGC or PCGS and it takes 2 months to get your coin back, and then there's a matter of listing it, and then all you're going to realize net is about an extra $70 to $90 profit. Again, that's going to be a conversation you're going to have inside here, and it really depends on your current needs. But this is a great coin right here. Now, we're going to go in ascending order. So we're going to have a lot of the older coins first. This is the 2015 Lincoln Shield set. The next one that we have here is a coin that I've talked about on a number of occasions on the Pocket Change Market Report. And this is the 2016 America the Beautiful. It's the National Park Series. South Carolina Fort Moultrie quarter with the reverse strike through. Now, the picture is a little bit dark on this one, but you can see that there's a strike through here on the left side of the coin in this little empty field area, and then part of it is going into the design space of the coin. So what that really is that there is a gob of this pasty, greasy material with some debris mixed in, some metal shavings, some other things in there added to the mix, dirt, grime, you name it. And it was on the die. It had subsequently struck through onto all of the strikes of other coins up until a mint employee finds it, and then they kind of wipe it down, clean it up a little bit. But this is what they call a strike through. Sometimes they'll refer to it as a field restricted strike through, and that's where the feeder finger, which helps in the aid of the ejection and the injection of the planchet into the striking chamber, the actual feeder finger will scrape up against the top of the die, all right, leaving these parallel lines. But at the same time, the feeder finger will have its own lubrication on there. That same grease, that same kind of hard pasty substance will also be on there as well. So with each time that feeder finger scrapes up against a die, it's also going to shift around and move some of that grease that's on there. So you're going to get different sizes and shapes and variants of the strike throughs for the field restricted style type of anomaly. But this particular coin, and keep in mind, these are all realized sold sales I'm showing you. This particular example sold for $99.99. And these are all within the last 90 days. All right, so these are very fresh sales. These are currently items and coins that people are finding today in circulation. All right, so if you get change back from that Starbucks barista, or if you go to the local Piggly Wiggly, you get change back from there, or if you go to a convenience store after buying yourself a beverage, you get change. Make sure you're looking at all the change that comes back to you. Again, a lot of these are naked eye visible. You don't need a magnifier, but it certainly doesn't hurt. All right, the next coin that I want to talk about here is another one of those strike-through events. This is, I would say, what you would consider to be another field-restricted strike-through, albeit I don't see too much in the way of the feeder finger scrapes, which are going to be fine kind of like file lines that are all going to be parallel to each other on the fields. All right, so they hit the top of the die. So the field area is going to be the most affected. But you can see just a huge, huge anomaly there where there was some sort of grease and debris that was sitting on the die, and it struck up a number of these coins. Now, this particular example also has a pretty phenomenal counterclockwise rotated die error as well. So it's a twofer deal. You get the strike through, and you also get the rotated die, which looks to be about 100 degrees counterclockwise. These are all phenomenal errors to find. And on nickels, you could find the rotational die errors on both P and D mint coins. We've seen a number of them sell here in the last, I would say, 6 months for between $30 to as high as a few hundred. Really depending on how crazy the rotation is either way. But this one right here ended up selling for $135.50 on May 15th. Even gives you the timestamp, early morning deal. 24 bids, and someone owns a pretty interesting looking error. But if you did find one of these for yourself, you can help realize some of the dreams of making money off of coins that you could find in circulation. Again, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is before we get to the years 2021 and 2022. This is all gravy train supplemental type of big hitters that you could find out there today. The next one that we have here is actually one of my favorites because at first glance, you wouldn't know what it is, all right? There's going to be people in the community that knows exactly what it is, but there's going to be a number of folks that are kind of going to be scratching their head. What do we have here? It's nickel on one side, and it's copper on the other, okay? And then what we have here is a 2018 Roosevelt dime that is missing its whole entire reverse nickel layer, all right? The coin ended up selling for an amount of money. I didn't bring it up on 130 point or worth point to know exactly, but I believe it's somewhere in that $100 range for this coin. Again, it's a coin that you don't need to grade, and we've seen a number of these pop up in different denominations. There was recently a Washington crossing the Delaware quarter that sold about a week or two ago that is missing the entire front nickel clad layer. It's a phenomenal, very, very cool find. It's polarizing because the quarters have that silvery appearance, but when you look at this one, it's full on copper, so pretty amazing find right here. Another one to keep an eye out for. Again, these pop up when you least expect it on just about any date within the last 7 years. We're also going to take a look at a coin that exists in droves out there, and they affect both Philadelphia and Denver minted examples, and they can be found on just about any date going back to the last 7 years of Lincoln Shield cents. And that's going to be the major strike through Lincoln Shield cents. Now, as you can see here, this one's graded NGC Mint State 65. Again, it's all pretty subjective on the grading of whether or not you want to grade it, so that way you can realize the most amount of money, or if you need the money now, just go ahead and sell it the way it is. It really depends on your motive here. This one sold for $250. This is a very spectacular strike through. Again, lots of grease on the die prior to the strike of this coin. You can see that it's a Denver, which is a huge bonus for you folks there on the West Coast that typically can't find any good mint errors because a lot of them are sourced through the Philadelphia mint. But this one right here, again, NGC graded. Don't need to do that. $250 is a good deal on this. Ungraded examples, I've seen sell for between $50 and $100. So pretty big difference there. If you have a coin, an example that is very high grade, you might want to consider sending it to NGC. It's not going to be a coin that's going to sell right away, but you could grade it, you could list it for around 250 bones, and just kind of wait on it. And then someone will hit the button, because there is a butt for every seat, so to speak, for a lot of these errors. The next one that we have here is some type of error that you don't traditionally come across on much newer coins, and that's going to be clips. Curved clips, ragged clips, straight clips, elliptical clips, they're all dangerous. We see them quite often on older coins from like the 40s, 50s, and 60s. But when we're getting into the more modern age, where the technology and, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the quality control should be better, right? We're seeing less of the clips across all denominations of newer coins. 2019, Philadelphia, of course, you can find this on both Philadelphia or Denver Mint coins. This one is a double clip, and it does certainly have the Blakesley effect areas, and that's what you want to see on this coin here. This one ended up selling for $37 before shipping, 10 bids, and it sold relatively recent, June 19th. So again, another good coin to look out for. Clips in general are very low on the totem pole based off of error hierarchy. Like these are more available today looking through circulating coinage than any other error to date. But still, on much newer coins, quite tough to find. All right, so we're coming along here. Here's another strike-through Lincoln shield cent error, this time on a 2019 Denver. All right, more Denver coins getting some love. There's even a little bit of strike-through on the obverse there between Liberty and the motto "In God We Trust." So you can see that little weakness area there. But overall, yeah, the reverse of this coin is spectacular. It's a very nice high-grade mint state red version. This one ended up selling for $39.99. Keep note of the date. We're seeing a lot of these strike-throughs on all of the dates and both mints, especially from the last 5 to 7 years. So another big hitter to find out there, and $40, last time I checked, is not nothing. All these transactions stack up. If you come across a box that has at least one, more than likely you're going to find multiples, because the coins that come out of a full 2019 Lincoln cent box will have coins that were struck across maybe like two or three different sets of dies, and then more than likely you're going to find more of these. So that could actually be a huge treasure pickup right there. Excuse me. The next one that we have here is another one of those strike-throughs, this time again on a 2019 shield cent. You can see it right there going across Lincoln's throat. This is kind of actually very macabre looking. And it goes into the date. This is a very spectacular looking example here. And yeah, this is a great picture right here showing the depth of the strike through. Again, that's all like grease and debris that's built up on the dies. So that way when it strikes the coins, it's going to leave that kind of void on there. This one, spectacular sale, $46 with 14 bids, is a huge sale for this coin. This one sold a few weeks ago on July 2nd. Another coin to keep an eye out for you folks there on the East Coast. All right, so we're getting into a few 2020 coins. Now, this is the first time that we've shown one of these on this particular episode, but you can find them across a few other denominations like dimes, half dollars, things like that. 2020 Salt River Bay quarter. This one has the what they call a partial tilted collar. So the collar wasn't fully engaged during the striking process. It was slightly tilted. So you're going to get kind of like that railroaded edge where you have a partial reading. But for the most part, there's going to be an area that is damaged or unstruck on there. But yeah, a very spectacular looking coin here. Again, kind of like low end of the totem pole for this. Some would even say there's a little bit of a misaligned die issue with this coin. But overall, I mean, this one ended up at $29 with 8 bids. July 10th is when this one sold. Again, another morning deal, 8 a.m. Another good one to look out for. And these can be found even on the much newer coinage. Probably not where I'd personally spend all my time and energy, because I love hunting through Lincoln cents. It's going to provide back so much more opportunity than, say, going through quarters where, it's either like silver or West Point quarter or bust. Or some of the new Wilma Mankiller errors. Here's another 2020, this time a partial tilted collar on a Roosevelt dime. Same deal, okay? Not too much that we have to elaborate on this one. Same thing happened here. The coin kind of gives off a slight, misaligned die or off-center look to it. This one ended up selling for $36 with 18 bits, June 13th of this year. All right, 2 more coins, guys. Pretty nice ones here. We got a 2020 Lincoln Shield cent again with a curved clip, all right? Just one singular clip on a much newer coin, but take a look at that sale price. $51 with 20 bits is where this one ended up at. But yeah, pretty cool. Very nice clip here, you could see. And again, if you're able to take decent pictures, these pictures are not what I would probably qualify as being like expert level or like really dynamite looking images. But if you're able to take nice clear pictures that look and appear similar to like the size of this, so that way when someone actually looks at it or they click on it or they hover their mouse over it to zoom in, that it's going to be legible enough. It's going to be relatively in focus, so that way folks can see the actual anomaly that they're buying. But $51, you cannot argue with these results, guys. Money is to be made on coins that are being found left and right in circulation today. And guess what? The mint is producing billions upon billions of coins through the mint every year. So there's enough to go around for sure. And then finally, we're going to end it off on one of my favorites, this time on a 2020 Philadelphia. So we're going to end it off on how we kind of came into the show with a kind of like bisecting rim-to-rim die crack. This time on the reverse of a 2020 Philadelphia Shield set. This thing is absolutely bonkers. You have the crack that starts here from between E and D and United, goes through the shield, develops somewhat of a big booger style interior die break, goes through the shield, and then out the exit point there around K6. This is a phenomenal looking coin. The coin itself shows some circulation wear. It's not a gemmy, but this is kind of going to be kind of like the just a example of a coin with a little bit of circulation wear from the last 5 to 7 years that you can expect to find. They're not all going to be perfect, but can you imagine finding one of these, say, 20, 25 years later on down the road? I guarantee you guys, they're not going to look like this for too much longer, but why would you wait to search through anything these days? Considering the crap quality from the mint, it's giving all sorts of opportunity for folks that probably would need it. And the best part about this whole bit, all right, and I've said it once, I'll say it again, you're playing with house money. Go to the bank, pick up a box of pennies for $25, okay? Everybody can afford $25 for the most part. Go through the coins, find a designated dump bank, send the coins back there, repeat the process, and just kind of circle through it. If you could afford more coins, that's what I would do. All right, that's what I would certainly do. Always build up a position of like 6 to 8 boxes that you could constantly cycle through, and you could easily make this a great secondary supplemental income if you need it. All right. All it takes is a little bit of gumption. You got to have the heart and the passion and the kindness for what we're dealing with here. People are going to say, well, I can't really do any more of the crappy mint quality. I'm like, okay, then you're okay with not making money on current coinage, all right? Because yeah, when the quality is in the tanker, it presents again just a huge door that you could stick your foot into and take advantage of it, and everybody is taking advantage of it. All right, so why not you? So this is kind of like a nice little selection of coins to be on the lookout for. I mean, we are just scratching the surface. There's a whole lot more to look out for out there from the last 6-7 years. It's a virtual treasure hunt fest for everyone, and that includes folks on the East Coast and West Coast and everybody in between. This is amazing. I go back and I put up all of these sold listings from the last 90 days, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe that all of these different coins of varying different types of errors, and that's not including some of the varieties that exist already on some of these, of how much is out there for the taking. All right, and then these coins are constantly being passed around like a peace pipe from one vendor to one store, from one customer to another. They end up in a change jar. They end up to the bank, so you get the big idea. This is a great way to combat inflation, in case you haven't noticed, because the coins are still selling for a hot amount of money. But that's going to go ahead and do it. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Do you guys have a particular favorite that you want to find, or maybe tell me a little bit about some of the coins that you've been finding, so that way everybody is aware of what's out there? Let us know. Go ahead and post it down in the comment section. But that's going to go ahead and do it. All right, as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, friends, for joining in on this possible treasure hunt excursion with me. A lot of great stuff to be on the lookout for. But, yeah, best of luck. All right, you guys take care. Happy hunting, and I'll see you on the next coin video. So long.